Hello everyone, welcome back to the Cozy Soul Knitting Podcast. This is episode 11, I'm pretty sure. Maybe I should look that up. I'm pretty sure it's episode 11. But anyways, if you're new here, hello, welcome. My name is Saoirse and I am the Cozy Soul Knits over on Instagram. And yeah, this is my knitting podcast where we talk about all of the knitting that I have been up to recently. And yeah, if you've been here before, welcome back. Thank you for coming back and hanging out with me. I hope to provide you with some awesome knitting related content that you can sit and knit to for a little bit. I'm just here to keep you company while you knit, so yeah. Okay, so let's see. A couple of housekeeping things before we get into my finished objects. Got a couple finished objects, got some whips, got a lot of acquisitions, what's new, and we'll talk about future plans as well. One thing I did want to note, if you have been watching pretty regularly, you might have noticed that I try to talk about a few things that I've been like listening to or watching or reading while knitting, and I think I'm gonna play around with not doing that in this podcast because sometimes I just don't have anything to talk about and it feels like I'm trying to kind of like find things, you know, to talk about, like books for example. I haven't read any books that I've been like really like, you know, just obsessed with, like 5-star books. I have not read any in a while that I have really loved. So I feel like I just never have anything to talk about because I don't really want to sit here and talk about books that I don't like, and I don't really want to talk about, I don't know, sometimes I just don't feel like I'm in the mood to talk about things that aren't knitting in the knitting podcast. And I really want to try to vlog more. That's been an intention that I've had the last few days. I'm like, you know what, I really want to vlog more. And I feel like my vlogs would be a better place to talk about what I'm reading, talk about what I'm watching, things like that, alongside, obviously, the knitting aspect of vlogs. And also, I think too, just having my vlogs be kind of a way to share my day-to-day knitting, like mostly knitting, but also any other creative things that I do, or just like little life things here and there. So there's like some behind the scenes, I guess, and kind of just, you know, sharing little things that I'm up to in my day-to-day. And so make sure to keep an eye out for some more vlogs. So that was my little housekeeping thing. Thank you for sticking through that if you're like sitting there being like, I don't care. Thanks for listening anyways. And let's go ahead and get into finished objects because this is store-bought. I don't know if that was obvious. I feel like in person it's very obvious that this was not hand knit. So I don't know if you would be able to tell on camera, but yeah, it's like the stitches here are way too small for a human to have done. Yeah, so finished objects, let's get started. I popped these back on the blockers so that they would look slightly less worn and rumpled and wrinkled and all of that, but I did finish my socks. They have been blocked for a while and I've worn them probably shouldn't smell them. Oh, they don't actually smell. They literally don't smell like anything. So that's good. I've been wearing these primarily around the house. Like I think I wore them for like a week straight after they were dry. And I think I wore them like outside maybe once or twice when I was taking my dog out. So like not really for a super long time, but I was pretty much wearing them like all day. Working, you know, from home, just like walking around my house with some comfy socks, and I really like how they turned out. So just to give you a few details on these, I don't know why I'm holding them upside down. So these are just, you know, your average vanilla sock. I did a 2x2 ribbed cuff. Is that, yeah, cuff, I guess. Is that the right word for sock? I know it's like a cuff for your sleeve, but is it? I think so. I think it's also a cuff for a sock. So I did 2x2 rib, and then let's see what else. I also did an afterthought heel because I didn't want to mess up the striping sequence. So I just did an afterthought heel on them. I feel like it turned out pretty good. Let's see, what else I want to say. The yarn is West Yorkshire Spinners Signature 4-ply. And I still have quite a bit left. So I don't know if I should, I don't know, I was thinking maybe I could knit another pair with maybe like contrasting heel and cuff and toe or something. Or I was thinking too, like maybe I could make some socks for a friend and make them like shorty socks. I have really small feet, so I'm like, I don't think I could get a bigger size sock out of this. I should weigh it. I don't actually know. But just like eyeballing it, I'm like, you know, I might be able to get another like full, like, you know, same size if I was making it for myself, but if I was making them bigger for someone else, I might not be able to do the like 60 rounds for the leg. And yeah, I was just following the Crazy Sock Lady magic loop tutorial for the vanilla sock because I don't have it memorized yet. I know that, like, I feel like a lot of people just know exactly how to do it, but I do not. So I did that, and then I also just followed her tutorial for the afterthought heel as well, and it was pretty easy. I think the only thing about it is just that it's a little like you're just kind of putting yourself at risk to accidentally unravel your work when you cut into it, but I feel like as long as you're, you know, careful with it, I feel like, and you're not, you know, distracted by something else, like, you know, it was really easy. And I think, yeah, other than that, it's just like actually getting around to doing it, because I feel like once you do the toe, at least for me, I was like, once I did the toe on the sock, I was like, oh, okay, I'm done. And like, oh, just kidding, I still have the heel. So it took me a while to get around to doing the second heel because I'd already also started another pair of socks, and I didn't, like, my sock needles weren't free to do the afterthought heel, so I also bought another pair of needles that I knit my socks on, so that I can now have 2 pairs of socks on the needles if I need, which I think will be really great for like gift knitting, and also if I want to have like one vanilla sock, but I also have like a textured sock on the needles as well. So it just gives me a little bit of wiggle room there. But yeah, so as far as this fabric goes for the sock, like, it feels pretty nice. It's more like, I wouldn't say it's like rustic, but it is like more rustic than obviously like a superwash merino, which I feel like I have a lot of sock yarn that is superwash merino, so it's really, really soft. This one I feel like isn't as forgiving in terms of like any mistakes in your tension and things like that, but I also have heard that this yarn holds up really well. I think it's a 75% wool, 25 nylon, pretty sure. And so it's pretty durable. I've heard like that it's, yeah, very durable sock yarn. So I don't think I mentioned it's, this colorway is Seascape. And as far as I mean, I know it really doesn't matter, but I feel like my stripes match up pretty dang well. They're not exact, but they match up pretty well. And I think I already talked about that in another podcast, so I will go ahead and move on, but I'm so excited to have these done. This is my second ever pair of socks, and I don't know where my first pair went. Like, I think I was like, oh, I should wash these, and then they might be like the bottom of a hamper or something, and I just haven't gotten around to getting them washed, but I feel like every time I do the laundry, I try to look for them, and I just can't find them, so I don't know what happened. But they probably could be like underneath like furniture or something. I feel like my socks always tend to disappear underneath like chairs and sofas and my bed and stuff, so I'll have to go look around for those. But I think the other thing I wanted to note is that I don't know if I got like lucky or what, but these fit my feet perfectly. Like, The first pair I made was like ever so slightly too big around the foot, which I didn't care about because my socks are usually, like if I buy socks from the store, they're always a little too big because they say like, oh yeah, it fits this shoe size, but like it doesn't really. So I always have extra room in my, like especially around the heel. And so like the heels on socks are usually up at my ankles because of like how small my foot is. So I really don't mind like socks being a little bit bigger because I'm so used to it, but these ones fit like as if they were made for me, which I realized technically, yes, they would, I mean, well, not even technically, like, yes, in all sense of the phrase, they were definitely made for me, like, because I made them for myself, but I just think it's funny because, like, they just turned out so perfectly, and they fit, like, just, they fit so well, and that was just, I wasn't expecting that because they were only my second pair of socks, so I'm gonna have to recreate that on the next pair. I should probably, like, measure these and see exactly. I need to, like, measure these and, like, see exactly, like, how long to make the foot on my next pair so that I get this nice of a fit again. Ooh, I'm so excited. All right, so my next finished object is not blocked yet, and technically I am still going to need to do a little bit more work on it, but for the purposes of the podcast, I'm considering it to be done because all of the knitting is done, and it is my Ruska hat. So Ruska, I don't remember how to say it. I literally just heard someone talking about the sweater version, or like there's a sweater that's also, it's like the Ruska sweater, and they were literally just talking about it, and I was like, ooh, I feel like they said it differently than I was saying it, so I need to like remember, and now I don't remember. That's okay. This is a pattern by Jessica McDonald, and this is my first ever colorwork project, and let me just bring it up close. I feel like I did a pretty decent job, okay? Like, there are some issues in tension, like this was where my beginning of round was, and I feel like there was a little bit, because I was doing magic loop, there's a little bit of tensioning issues here. And yeah, I mean, oh, looking at it in the viewfinder too, like, oh my gosh, I feel like it almost looks like better in the viewfinder. Like, I can see the design better, if that makes sense, because like when I'm looking at it in person, it's kind of up close, and I feel like when you are further away, kind of like you can see the pattern a little bit better instead of like the individual stitches, if that makes sense. I don't know, but oh, I feel like it looks so good. I'm like very excited. So for all of my fellow knitters out there who have never done color work before, and you want to do color work, okay, take this with a grain of salt because I've only done one project and it was a hat, but it's not hard. I feel like, yes, there is a little bit of getting used to with like tension. I feel like no matter what type of way you're doing your color work, there's going to be a little bit of an adjustment because of just the 2 strands of yarn or more. But yeah, I feel like just it wasn't not that hard, and I was doing it, I was holding like 1 strand continental, which is not how I knit. I'm a English style knitter, I throw, and so that trying to do continental was definitely weird, and my tension continental is way looser than throwing, but you know, it all worked out, so I'm excited to see how this blocks out too. And then it has a really long brim, like the ribbing on it is pretty long because you are meant to fold it, so this is kind of what it looks like. Let me put it on. It's not blocked, so like I feel like it's gonna loosen up a little bit more, but that is it. Sorry, I'm not pulling it down as much as I normally would because I'm wearing makeup and I don't want to get the makeup all over my hat, but I just think this is so cute. The finishing touch that I need to do is put the little pom-pom on it, the little poof thingy. I don't have it made. I'm going to be making it with this yellow color. I feel like that will kind of pull everything together. And I think that's what the pattern recommends, is that you use this color, which was the contrast color number 2. And And for this, I used Blue Sky Fibers Woolstok Worsted, which I've been using a lot of. I have another whip that's all this type of yarn. So this color, the gray, is Gray Harbor, I believe. And then the blue is October Sky, and then this is Spun Gold. Yeah, I enjoyed working with it. I don't know if it's my most favoritist yarn ever. Someone did comment on my last podcast episode saying that it blocks out so beautifully, like it blooms really beautifully, so I'm excited to see that. And I meant to block this week because I was like, oh, I need to film my podcast, so I should get this blocked, and then I did not, obviously. So yeah, I will try to make sure I post a picture once I've got the pom-pom on and all of that. I will try to remember to take some photos of it and put it on my Instagram so you guys can see it in all of its pom-pom glory. But yeah, going back to the pattern itself, I think it was a great one for a beginner who's never done color work before. I found it to be very easy to follow. The motif is really easy. It's only one chart, so I feel like it was not overwhelming at all, and it was a pretty addictive knit too, so I feel like it's a pretty quick knit. Like you'll want to get through it like once you start the color work chart. I feel like the hardest part was getting through the ribbing, because this took the majority of the time, and then the color work part. I did put it down and take a break from it, but if I hadn't done that, like it would have been done so quickly, because like it was just, you do one row and then you're like, oh, like, or one round, and then you want to do the next one to like see the motif work up. So yeah, but yeah, I think it was a great pattern to learn color work on. And it does have the 3 colors, however, there's only ever 2 colors in any one round, which I think, does that technically mean that it's Fair Isle? I think. I think Fair Isle only ever has, I think that was like the definition. I was trying to figure out what all the different, you know, because like color work seems to be like an umbrella term, and then there's Fair Isle, and then there's mosaic and stranded and all of that stuff, and I was just trying to figure out what every one of them means, and I did come across someone saying that Fair Isle only ever has 2 colors in any given round, so I think this is technically Fair Isle. I could be wrong, but anyways, if the 3 colors is like seeming like, oh my gosh, that'd be way too confusing, you're only ever working 2 of them in any one round, so you're it's just as easy, I think, as doing a 2 color work, but you get a little bit more variety with this pattern. So I really enjoyed this. I would definitely recommend it. The pattern was really well written. So I think that's everything about this pattern. I can't remember if there was anything else I wanted to say. Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I would definitely recommend it. And yeah, if you have a favorite colorwork sweater, let me know, because now that I've done a hat, I feel that I can definitely take on a sweater. So I think it was like the Alpine, what's it called? Let me check Instagram. I have a sweater in mind for my first colorwork sweater. Okay, so I want to do the Alpine Bloom Tee by Boylan Knitworks. I think that's Caitlin Hunter. We shall see. I think I've seen a lot of people, I don't know if the pattern, like the original pattern, calls for spin cycle, but I've seen a lot of versions of it that have spin cycle. So I want to do that because I just think spin cycle would be so cool to see it work up in a color work. I've seen some other spin cycle color work tees and sweaters. So I don't know if I'll do the Alpine Bloom, the Alpine Bloom, or if I'll do something else. There was another person on Instagram that I saw that had like some really pretty color work and spin cycle sweaters, and I have to go change the battery on my camera, so I will be right back. So I'm back. Hopefully I didn't move the camera too much. I feel like every time I have to take my camera, because I have to take it off the tripod, take the little thing off so I can get the battery out, put it back on, and I feel like no matter how hard I try, it always ends up being in like a slightly different angle. So hopefully that doesn't bug anyone. Anyways, So yeah, but if you have any colorwork sweaters that you think would be a good first like colorwork sweater to do, let me know. Or just let me know which ones you've enjoyed making if you have knit any. So I would love to know. And also, what yarn did you use? I'm so curious because I don't know, I feel like there's always like yarns that I see on like online that are advertised as really good for colorwork. Anyways, okay. Okay, so that was my second finished object, and now we are done with those, so it's time to move on to whips. I almost feel like I'm not showing you all my whips. I do have one that I haven't worked on in a while. It's kind of languishing. It's the Barber Shawl by Gregoria Fibers. It's over, I know where it is, it's literally right there, but I still feel like I had more. I still have a lot. So I will start by showing you my sock. So this is the current sock that's on the needles. I am gonna try to always have a sock on the needles. I just think that it's such a good project to kind of have when you need some simple stockinette and don't have any other projects that are in that state, you know, where you can just do some mindless knitting. So I have done the heel on this guy. I just finished the gusset decreases, so I just did the like kind of regular heel flap. This one I'm following the Crazy Sock Lady Magic Loop tutorial almost exactly, except for the 2x2 rib on the cuff. But yeah, and then this sock set, I've talked about it before. It is from Potions and Purls. The Etsy shop will be linked down below, and this is their sock set in the colorway Peach Party. So let me grab the yarn really quick to show you. So this, yeah, there we go. Okay, I was like, oh no, it's like totally blown out, but no, you can see it. So really, really beautiful colorways. I am obsessed with these. So I do want to finish these socks pretty soon because I feel like this is a very summery colorway, summery sock set, and I want to move on to one that's more fall. I feel like I knew the heel was coming up, and I just like wasn't like prepared to do the heel yet, so it took me a while, and I finally did the heel, and now I'm back to just stockinette in the round for a little bit. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks I'll have this sock finished. I'll be able to start the second one, but that's the first whip to talk about. And then this is the whip. This is like the main focus that I have. And I can't remember where it was at when I showed you guys last. I want to say that I think I had maybe just started the short rows or just finished the short rows. So like we didn't even really have a yoke at that point. So let me show you now. I've got my Semper Sweater, and let me see if I can get it all in frame here. The body is done, and I'm on my first sleeve. Yay! So yeah, this has been my primary. Oh, I totally am missing a whip. I was like, I just felt like there was like a big whip that I was totally forgetting about. I will go grab that in a second. I don't know why. I think I was gonna say like this has been my primary focus, and it has, but also I have another whip that also has been getting a lot of love. But this one is my kind of my main focus these days because, you know, the weather is getting cold and I need more sweaters. So, you know, this has just been my primary project. Again, this is a Semper Sweater by the Knit Purl Girl, and I am knitting it in Knitting for Olive, Merino, and Soft Silk Mohair, both in the colorway Hazel. So this is the yarn, and first of all, let me say I am loving this combination. I understand why it's so popular. This is the first time that I've been knitting with both the Merino and the Silk Mohair, and I love it. I love it so much. It just, I don't know, it's so nice. Like, it's soft, it's fun to work with. I love the halo that it's giving this. Like, it's just, oh. Do I inhale mohair fibers every time I'm knitting on it? I think yes, but small price to pay, I guess. And yeah, I just really like it. So you're definitely gonna be seeing me knit with more of these. I'll just probably be trying to always have a sweater on the needles. I feel like that uses this combo, like I just love it. I love it so much. Let's see. I'm knitting, I can't remember, I think it's size G. I feel like that's just the one that's the one I did, I attempted to knit for the Farnham tee. And then this is the second Knit Purl Girl pattern that I've done, so I don't know if I'll always be a size G in her patterns, but it's been pretty consistent, at least with the 2 patterns that I've knit. My gauge is a little off, it's like 2 stitches off, so we'll see. But so far I've tried it on and it still has a good amount of positive ease, so it might not be exactly the same size as the one I'm intending to knit. It might end up being the one that's smaller, it might be closer to a size F, which is also what happened with the Farnham tee. I don't know, I think the issue is that, you know, a gauge swatch can only be so accurate, because I know that I did a gauge swatch with this and I was close enough that I didn't feel the need to change my needle size at the time, and I can't remember, I should take better notes so I know exactly what I'm talking about when I talk about this in my podcast, but you know, I was close enough with the gauge swatch that I felt like I don't need to go up a size needle. So I don't know if to me at the time 2 stitches off was fine or maybe I was only like 1 stitch off, and then I don't know, because I think I was kind of in between like 22 stitches to 23 stitches per 4 inches, and I think the gauge is supposed to be 21, so I think it's yeah, I mean it is fine because it fits, but in terms of being like on gauge, I think, you know, it's close enough, I feel like. But I also feel like I remember being on gauge like when I did my gauge swatch, but I don't actually remember, so I've been trying to take better notes as I do gauge swatching, but I started this like over the summer, so it's just hard to remember, and I wasn't taking good notes on gauges when I was, you know, during that time, so yeah. I'm gonna go and grab my other whip because that one has been the other big project that I've been working on, and I just feel like I should talk about them back to back. Let's see here. Got my petite knit bag. There's so much fiber like floating around. Okay, so this is my 3rd whip, pretty sure. 3rd whip, but also the second kind of in terms of, ooh, I've got fiber. I've got mohair in my nose. This is like the second in terms of priority. And there I was, I feel like this past week I was like, I'm going to finish this, and I didn't, but I was like really trying to make a lot of progress on it, and I did. So this is, I feel like it looks like a skirt kind of, but this is the 27 color snood. So I don't know, because my mom was saying, I was like telling her that this was a snood, and she was like, isn't a snood the thing that like goes over like a bun or something? And I looked it up, and that did seem to be what Google was showing in terms of like if you look up pictures of snoods. But it's basically supposed to, I mean, it's supposed to do this basically, just like it's not actually like your head goes through here, but I'm just kind of faking it because I don't want to pull any stitches off the needles. But it is kind of like, I feel like it's at the top, it's kind of a cowl, and then it also goes over your shoulders. So as you can see, it's getting smaller as you go up. Let's see. So yeah, I don't know if this would normally be called a snood, or if there's just multiple things that that word means, or what. This is a pattern that was written for Blue Sky Fibers. I cannot remember off the top of my head what the pattern designer's name is. It'll be on the screen. And this is a kit that you can buy. I think a lot of different online yarn stores have it. I bought this one from Fabulous Yarn when I was getting some replacement needles and like replacement needle tips for some of my, for my Lantern Moon 3mm ones. And I saw this kit and I was like, you know what, that just looks like it'd be so much fun to knit. And it has been a lot of fun, and I've really been enjoying just seeing the colorful stripes work up, and yeah, it's been really great. And the yarn is Blue Sky Fibers Woolstok worsted, so same yarn as my hat. And yeah, so I feel like there's so many different things I wanted to say about this. The first thing I'll say is I actually casted on more stitches than the pattern calls for because my gauge was off, and I didn't know how to, I think it calls for something like 16 stitches. I could be thinking of a different project, but yeah, this one was just like, it was crazy. Like it was such a loose gauge that I was just confused how anyone would be able to knit that up in that gauge and still have it look like nice, I guess. But then I did, same person who commented that this yarn blooms really nicely, so think about knit. Thank you so much. You really helped me like calm my anxiety over the gauge, because I was like so confused. I was like, how could anyone get this gauge? I don't understand. But anyways, their comment said that they're pretty sure the way that gauge was achieved was from excessive blocking, which made me feel better because I was just, like I said, totally lost. And yeah, so because my gauge was tighter than the pattern called for, I decided to just cast on more stitches. And I did see that a lot of people on their Ravelry notes did mention that they had also attempted to knit a bigger size, because that's another thing I realized, that this pattern is just one size, and that's obviously not going to fit everybody. So I feel like because it goes around the shoulders, I feel like they should have made it, you know, at least a couple different sizes. So I don't know, maybe not size inclusive, I guess, but I think someone on Ravelry does have notes on how to make it a bigger size, because I saw people kind of referring to someone else being like, oh, I'm following this person's way of doing it, but I didn't really go down that rabbit hole. Maybe I should have, but I didn't. I just casted on more stitches. And then as far as the decreases goes, I just followed the decreases according to the pattern, which means that my decreases didn't really line up, like at the bottom, they didn't really line up the same way, which is fine, because I just figure if there is any weirdness to the shape, I'll just block that out. And I don't know, eyeballing it, I don't think I can see a difference, so if you wanted to just cast on more stitches and kind of just follow the way that the decreases are in the pattern. Eventually I got to a place where my decreases started to match up with what the pattern called for. Like my number of stitches in that round finally ended up matching what was in the pattern, and I don't know, it was all good from there. So yeah. So I feel like, yeah, you don't have to put too much thought into making it a little bit bigger. I think if you needed to cast on a lot more stitches, I think yes, maybe you might need to. It'd probably be a good idea to kind of do some math and figure out the rate of decreasing and all of that. And yeah, I don't know what else to say about this. I'm excited to see how it blooms, because again, I've heard it blooms really beautifully. Oh, that was the other thing I'm going to mention, is that because color work has been on my brain, I love this combination with this yarn, like this right here, these two green colors. And then I also really liked this one, this kind of like brown and then darker brown and then this kind of beigey color. And then, I mean, I feel like, yeah, I feel like so many of these would be like great color work, color options. So anyways, I still have quite a few more rounds to go. I don't know exactly how many more color stripes there are, but I still have quite a few minis left. So I know that I won't be done until I run out of minis, and even then I'll still have a little bit more of the main color to do, which, oh, that was the other thing I should mention, is that the original kit comes with cast iron is the colorway. This one is driftwood. So the Fabulous Yarn website, they just tell you on there that if you want to switch out the main color, just to leave a note in the order, and they'll do that, and that's what I did because I just thought I might like this better. And then like the dark gray, and I like my color choice. I think it worked out really, really well, and I feel like it just makes these colors pop a lot, so that was exciting. Yeah, and this, honestly, I just wanted this so that I could throw something on in the mornings when it's super freaking cold and just knit and not have because, you know, sometimes I want to like put a blanket or something over my shoulders, but then that kind of gets in the way of my arms moving and stuff. So, you know, yeah, so I think I'm gonna use this a lot probably, especially in the morning, so I can just knit and be comfortable and warm. And yeah, it's not something, I probably wouldn't wear it like out of the house, because I don't think, like, in terms of fashion, it's not really my style, and I feel like I would have trouble like styling it like the way that the pictures do and stuff. I just feel like I wouldn't, I don't know, be able to get it to like slouch perfectly and all of that. So I probably would not wear it much outside the house, but it's gonna be a really great thing to have to just like keep warm in the winter. And actually the other day I was literally knitting on it and I was so cold, especially like my shoulders and like my upper arms, and I was just like, man, this would be so perfect if I had it to wear right now. I would totally put it on right now and it would be amazing. So yeah, cool. I think that's all that I had to talk about for that whip, so let's move on. I have two more to discuss. One of them is sharing this project bag with my Semper Sweater, which is probably not the best idea, but whatever. So okay, I feel like I have a story to go with this. So I really want to knit the Leith cardigan, and I've never done intarsia before, and I've never knit a cardigan before, and so I thought I probably should not be knitting my first cardigan while also doing intarsia for the first time and all of that. That just felt like it would be too much for me and I would be stressed out. So I figured, okay, I need to knit a pretty basic cardigan so that I'm prepared for future cardigan projects, because I always want to do them, but then I think, oh, I've never really done one before, and I get stuck thinking, you know, like, oh, I probably like shouldn't start with that one, you know? And so I decided that I was going to knit my first ever cardigan, and I looked through patterns and I settled on the Home Cardigan by Kadri. And I am not a bulky yarn lover. I don't really like the worsted weight is the max I want to go at, and future me is gonna have to pay attention to the gauge when it comes to worsted weight projects, because like for example, the last whip that I just showed you, don't really like knitting at that gauge. It's a little, oh, what the heck? My Semper Sweater fell and hit the door of my cabinet here. It scared me. I don't like the gauge that, like the looser worsted weight gauge. So like when you start to get towards like 16 stitches, that's not my jam. I don't want to be there. I don't like working on that big of needles. It kind of hurts my hands, and yeah, it's just not like my preferred weight for projects. However, I was thinking only really about the fact that since it was a bulky weight, that it would work up really quickly, which is true, but also not true because it hurts my hands to work on it, so I can't work on it for that long. So is it really gonna work up quickly? Probably not. So anyways, yeah, so here is my home cardigan. So this is the back panel here, and I have started the right shoulder. So literally there's barely any progress on this. I've just been picking it up here and there, and I mean, it has worked up quickly, but at the same time it hasn't, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like with the amount of time that I've actually spent working on it, yes, it's working up quickly, but I can't work on it for very long, like I said. Anyways, it still has been kind of fun. Like, the pattern itself, I feel like it's fun, and I am enjoying the feel of the yarn. So I am using Knit Picks Wonder Fluff. This is a mostly alpaca and nylon blend. I think it has a small percentage of wool in there as well. And the colorway I chose is Hair Heather. And I just think it's this really beautiful, like, kind of warm toned gray, grayish beige color. I really like it. And I think I really am going to enjoy the finished product. Yes, finished product. But it is hard. It is hard to work on it. I am knitting this on size US 10.5, so 6.5 millimeters to get gauge, and yeah, it's just, it hurts my hands. I think the original, like the pattern suggests the suggested yarn is Camerose Snefnug, and paired with I think like some sort of mohair, I don't remember. So I went ahead and I went with Knit Picks Wonder Fluff because then it would just be one strand, and Camerose Snefnug is really expensive, and I would buy a sweater quantity's worth of Snefnug if it was a pattern that I felt more confident in, but because I've never done a cardigan before, I didn't want to spend that much money not knowing how it's gonna turn out. So I feel like I would save like Camerose Snefnug for like a pattern that I've already done and I wanted to make again with like really nice yarn. Do you know what I mean? Anyways, so yeah, I went with the Knit Picks one instead. So I did buy some yarn from Knit Picks, and I bought some other yarn from Knit Picks as well that I'll talk about later in the acquisition section of this podcast. But that's my home cardigan. Not a lot to show you. I feel like I can't even like put it on like this because the cord that I have this stitches on back here is kind of it's kind of cinched, so I just feel like this doesn't even show you anything. So yeah, I am hoping to have this done. I want to get my Semper Sweater done, but at the same time, I'm also feeling like I really should also prioritize this one a little bit more because I want to knit the Leith cardigan. I bought some yarn. I'll talk about that later. Well, I guess I'll just mention it now. I am wanting to knit the Leith cardigan, and I bought some yarn from the Spain, or I pre-ordered some yarn from the Spain collection from Explorer Knits and Fibers. But that's not going to get here for like quite some time. So I do have time before I knit the Leith cardigan to finish this. So my next whip is something I literally casted on today. I just felt like I needed to get this on the needles. So I've only done 3 rows. This is the start, the very start of the Donner pullover. The pattern is by Elizabeth Doherty, I believe. I think I got that right. Again, it'll always be on the screen like it normally is. I always try to put up pictures, especially when this is all I have to show you. Like, come on, I gotta put up a picture so that you guys know what I'm talking about. But yes, I'm using the suggested yarn, which is Debrem Natura Antigone, I don't know how to say it. So yeah, sorry if I said that wrong. But this is in the shade Hellebore. Again, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right either. And what do I want to say about this? So This is more of a summer pattern because this yarn is 100% linen, but it does have 3/4 sleeves, so I feel like it would be kind of a good transitional piece, even though I feel like at this point, like, at least where I live, we're well into fall, so transitioning isn't, like, we're already transitioned to fall at this point. But I do sometimes run on the hotter end. So I'm sure there's gonna be days where I'm like, you know what, it's not cold enough to warrant a wool sweater, and so I might want to wear something, you know, like a linen top with like a sweatshirt or something, you know what I mean? So I'm like, I could totally wear it. I would wear this in the dead of winter, as long as I had, you know, something to layer on top of it if I needed. So I'm not really, like, in that sense, I don't think I need to stick to only knitting this in like a seasonally appropriate time of year. But I do think I'll get more use out of it if I were to finish it sooner rather than later, but at least for this year. So I would like to get it done soon, and I have other things that are much higher priority for me to work on, but I'm hoping I can get a good amount of it done in the next few weeks and, you know, at least get it started, and then it could maybe become my future kind of #1 priority knit, and then I can finish it up and wear it a little bit before maybe I feel like it's too cold. I am a little concerned. I'm gonna be kind of very, especially as I go, I'm gonna try and be very like diligent about checking my gauge and the fit and everything, because I went down to 2 needle sizes. So I'm using 3mm needles, and I believe it calls for like 4mm needles. Can't remember. And I had to go down a couple needle sizes, which was kind of shocking. I've never had to do that before. I've always, if I wasn't on, you know, if I wasn't on gauge, like I always had to go up a size because I am a tighter knitter. And obviously that there, you know, in the world there are going to be people who knit even tighter than I do, but I've never run into a pattern where the pattern designer has a tighter gauge than me. So that of course leads me to think that I'm doing something wrong instead of just that they're a tighter knitter than I am. I'm feeling like, oh, I must have messed something up, right? But I don't know. I did the gauge swatch. I blocked it. Is literally perfect, so hopefully we're good. The other thing to mention too is that I went up a size. I did buy an extra skein of yarn because I like to do that because it just makes me feel better, and I actually decided to go up a size, and I checked. I'm pretty sure I was like, I definitely have enough yarn to go up a size, so I think I'm knitting, I can't remember which size I'm knitting. It might be the 7th size in the pattern, just because I was just thinking, like, you know, I don't know, I want a little bit more positive ease, I think, than the pattern calls for, just because, I don't know, I was just looking at it and I was just feeling like I saw the pictures of like the you know, the sample pictures, I guess, and like, I don't know, I was just like, I was feeling like it wasn't enough positive ease and I got kind of nervous, so I just decided to size up. And you know, if that means that I have a little bit of an oversized tee, I think that'll be better. I think I would rather have a little bit more positive ease than, yeah. So I think it's like 9 inches of positive ease that I'm aiming for. So we'll see how it goes. I just, you know, so it's like not a crazy amount of positive ease. I just like I was just thinking about it and just feeling like I want a little bit more with this pattern. I could just see it being a little bit more comfortable that way. But I will, again, like I said, I'll be trying it on as soon as possible to make sure that I'm liking the fit, and we'll go from there. So that's my last whip, which means it's time to talk about future plans and acquisitions. So really quickly, I am going to quickly chat. I have some swatches for the Dorney sweater by Rebecca Clow, and this is the first one I did, I think. Yeah. And this one I was able to like stretch it out to 4 inches, but like it was not, like, I could tell the fabric was like, I don't like this. Don't stretch me that way. It's not meant to stretch that far. So I went up another needle size and I did another swatch, and this one again, it stretched out to 4 inches, but it just looked like it almost was stretching a little too much. And so I don't know if I want to go up another needle size though, because this one is already, it's quite gapey. Like, it is pretty see-through in sections, and I don't know if that's the look that I want. So I think I'm gonna go with, I don't remember what size needles, I wrote it down, but I don't remember what size needles this bigger one was. And so I think I'm going to size up and again, just be really diligent about trying it on, and if I have to frog it a couple of times, I think that's just the way it's gonna have to be, because I don't know. And then I remembered Rebecca saying that she did not gauge swatch for this yarn, and her white Dorney in this same yarn, which is West Yorkshire Spinners Erin Jacob yarn in the ecru color, natural color, but hers ended up being a little too small. Like, she mentioned recently that she had tried it on again after losing some weight, and it finally fit her a little bit better. And she was saying how like she didn't love the fit beforehand, and that she had not gauge swatched it and it had ended up a little too small. So I'm worried that maybe, because it's like one thing when you know a pattern designer hit gauge with that yarn, that it's like possible. But I'm sitting here like, what if I can't hit gauge with this yarn? Like, because, you know, it's like she technically didn't hit gauge with it either. So I'm just a little worried, and I don't want it to be super gapey. Like super, like I don't love like super loose gauges, and it didn't seem to bloom very much. Maybe there's a way to block it, like maybe I need to look up like blocking instructions for this yarn or something. Like maybe there's a certain type of wool wash or something that it reacts really well to, I don't know, but it didn't seem to bloom a ton, and so I don't know. I think I'm just gonna go up a size and knit it and see how it goes. I think this, you know, this Dorney sweater is just gonna end up being a learning experience for me, because I know that the cables, you know, until they block, right, they kind of cinch in. So that's another, it's like as I'm trying it on, if I can get it on and have a little bit of room to spare, then if it blocks, right, and it's gonna, you know, loosen up a little bit from blocking, then I think I'll be okay. So that's just something for me to kind of think about, I think, and that's why I'm not casted it on yet, was because I was just like, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing here. So we will see, and I will keep you guys updated. It's definitely I think it's gonna be kind of a trial and error type of deal, unfortunately. But that is a future plan, and one that, you know, I think the last podcast episode I had done one gauge swatch and was not sure if I was gonna go with that one. So let's see. I think that is, as far as future plans go, I think, okay, so I'm gonna fully move into acquisitions now. So I did buy the Wonder Fluff from Knit Picks. I got quite a few of these. They're kind of tucked at the bottom shelf, so I'm not going to grab all of them, but I've already used up one, which was kind of crazy because I'm like looking at it, I feel like I barely knitted on the home cardigan and I've already have one of these used up and I'm on my second one. But it is a bulky weight, so that, you know, that makes sense. They don't have, this is 142 yards per 50 grams, so in case you were wondering. But yeah, so and this yarn feels really nice. It's really nice to work with. I was worried that with it being so fluffy, it would be like hard to work with, because like you know, with fluffier yarn, you can always see the stitches as well, right? But I haven't had an issue with it because it is, I don't know if you can kind of tell, it's one of those yarns that like the core of the, I mean, I feel like there really isn't a core, like, you know, it's just kind of a thing of fluff. I don't really know how to describe it, but it's like there's not like a single core and then a bunch of fluff around it. It's just all fluff, if that makes sense. So I feel like it's easy to see what's going on with your stitches, if that makes sense. So that's acquisition number 1. Okay, and then I also bought some of their fingering weight palette yarn. This is, I'm pretty sure, 100% Peruvian Highland wool, yep. And I got the shade Clover, and I did get, how many of these did I get? I think I got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got 8 of these. I have 3 more in a plastic bag that I'm gonna leave there. And I bought this to pair with this Mohair that I had originally purchased to go with, what was it? Oh, there's a cone back there that you can't see. I'm being so lazy right now. I could literally stand up and get it, but I'm just not doing that. Ooh, hello. So this is a cone of brown sheep wool, and it's in the shade Autumn Leaves, and it's very like, it's really that golden green, you know, like really golden. And as you can see, it really doesn't match this Mohair, but online this looked like it was more this, and I thought it would be a good match, and then I got it in person and I was like, that's not gonna work out, and I swatched it and I was just like, no, I don't like it. And so I decided to purchase this to see if these would go, and they're a lot closer, so I have high hopes. We'll see. I'm hoping, oh god, bunch of yarn just fell. I'm hoping that the colors will like blend well together instead of create, like I don't want a marled effect. I want it to just kind of, I want the Mohair to just subtly change this color a little bit. So we'll see if that works out. When I tried to pair these two together, it marled, and I did not want that. Obviously, there are some times when you want something that's marled, and other times you don't. So I just didn't want it for the this project. I'm going to be doing the I need to get more yarn. I don't have enough yarn to do it, but I will get more of that yarn, and I'm just going to hold it double, I think, and I'm going to do the, what is it called? The Cargill by Rebecca Clow. But this yarn, this together, I will be doing the Oslo sweater by Petite Knit. And the reason I want to do the Oslo sweater is when I was watching, so I found Amy from Knee Knits, like maybe a couple months ago or something, and I was watching, like I went all the way back to her very first episode. I watched all the way through, and I think it was like maybe her first episode. She was wearing the Oslo sweater, and I just fell in love with it. So I'm gonna knit the Oslo sweater with this yarn. Hopefully it'll be a good combination. So those are the things that I bought from Knit Picks. Yes, for some reason that sounded wrong, but yes, from Knit Picks. And then I can't remember if I showed you guys this yarn already or not. Like, I feel like it may have been in the last episode, but I also don't, oh god. I also don't know if I did. So if I didn't, I did buy the bundle for the night shift shawl. Is that what it's called? Yeah, from Spin Cycle. I actually purchased this from a yarn shop in Ohio because the Spin Cycle website had been sold out for so long. And then I think it was really funny because right after I bought it from the Ohio yarn shop that I bought it from, it literally like 2 days later was in stock at the Spin Cycle, like at the, you know, like at Spin Cycle. And I live in Washington, so Spin Cycle is up in Bellingham. I just feel like, you know, it would have been better to ship it from Bellingham to the Seattle area instead of from Ohio to Seattle, you know. But I didn't know when they were getting it back in stock, and I saw it in stock and I kind of was like, oh my gosh, like it could never be in stock again. Who knows? Like, who knows how much longer I'd have to wait. So I went ahead and I ordered it. And the reason that I was even looking at that yarn shop, it's like, I think it's called River Studio. They ship online, or they sell online. And I think the only reason I was looking there was because that was a shop that carried Camrose Snefnug, and that's when I realized I did not want to pay that much money for my first cardigan, so I did not buy the Snefnug, but it was too late at that point. I had already seen that they had this bundle. So we've got Melancholia, we have Salty Dog, this one is Nostalgia, and this one is Rusted Rainbow, and then Deep Bump, and this one is Shades of Earth. So I'm excited to knit that shawl. I've been wanting to knit it ever since I first saw it, ever since I first found out who Andrea Mowry was. And she's on my wish list of like designers that I would like to knit more from. I have never knitted one of her designs yet, and I really want to knit more of her things because I feel like most of the stuff that she releases, I'm like, ooh, I would love to have that in my wardrobe. So I'm very excited. I haven't cast it on yet because, you know, I have so many other things, but I want to soon. I'm really excited. It's taken a lot of like effort to not cast it on. Just gonna pop it down there, and let's move on because oops, I can't reach. I do have a lot more acquisitions. Okay, so the next set is a pre-order, so I feel like you can't judge current me because like past me bought this, okay? So I purchased some things from the Sorella Eras collection. I think when and I've realized something, that if I don't have the level of excitement over a hand-dyed pre-order as I did with the Explorer Knits and Fibers Spain collection, then I don't need to buy the yarn. This was a learning moment for me. Not because this yarn isn't beautiful, it is. I just don't think I was actually that excited for it. I think I literally was just feeling a little bit of FOMO because all of, you know, I feel like I just kept missing out on pre-sales or pre-orders of this, you know, beautiful hand-dyed yarn. Like, you know, I would hear people talking about like past collections and showing yarn from it and being like, oh my gosh, like I wish I could have bought that. So yeah. And I realized that, you know, I mean, I don't need to take part in every single pre-order, and if I don't have, because with the Spain collection from Explorer Knits and Fibers, those tonals just stole my heart, and if I had the money, I would have bought a sweater quantity's worth of every single one of the tonal colors because they were just perfect. They were my colors. They were like rich and warm toned and just beautiful. And again, I just was like thinking back to when I pre-ordered these, I wasn't like that excited about it. Like I was excited about it, but I wasn't like that level of excited about it. So I'm like, oh, I need to reflect a little bit more on like, am I truly excited or am I just worried about missing out on the collection? Okay. So I bought 3 sock sets from the Eras collection. So this one right here is You Need to Calm Down. Sorry, can't hold it. So there's that one. And then this one is the 1989 sock set, which I like had to get because like that is one of the albums I feel like I listen to the most. And then there is Karma, which had this beautiful like teal shade that I was like, ooh, yes, please. And if you didn't know this, I currently am kind of on a sock set ban. Again, this was a pre-order, but I have been, if you've been watching the podcast, you've seen me, like, I feel like every single one, I'm like, I have more sock sets, and like, I don't knit socks fast enough to be buying sock sets like this. Like, who do I think I am? So we're not buying any more sock sets. The only exception I will be making in terms of sock yarn is when I want to do a patterned sock. I feel like tonals look better with like the more textured socks, so I will be buying some, like, probably like some Cascade, like their heritage sock or something, and just getting a couple of like solid colors or tonals for textured socks, but I don't need to do that for right now because I have plenty of socks to knit on. And then also from the Eras collection, these are the ones that I think I was most excited about, and I probably should have just bought this and called it a day. So again, we're learning, but I did get a sweater quantities worth of this Enchanted colorway, and I got 6. I got 6 of these, and they're beautiful. And I am very excited that I bought these. Like, these are stunning. I think it's gonna make a beautiful sweater. I don't know what sweater I'm gonna make with it, which also stresses me out. You guys, if you've been watching the podcast, I'm sure you know this, or I have said it before, or maybe you don't know this. But I don't really like buying yarn when I don't know what to do with it, because I think it stresses me out, because then I'm like, well, I get it, and I'm just sitting here like, okay, someone just give me a pattern for this. I don't know what to do. So I don't know what pattern to do, and I bought 6 skeins so that I would be pretty set. And I think, I might just get like a pale pink or maybe kind of cream colored mohair to pair with it, maybe to do like more of a DK weight sweater or something. I'm not sure, but yeah. So again, future me will be trying to only buy pre-orders when I'm like really excited. I did purchase some things from the Halloween collection because there was a colorway that I was really excited about. And then this is my last set of acquisitions, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so last year around this time, I think I was just kind of getting into obsessively knitting, and I didn't know that this was a thing, and I think even if I had known in advance, I wouldn't have felt skilled enough to participate. But I was like, I am doing that next year. And it is the West Knits Mystery Knit Along. I was really bummed that I didn't participate last year, and so I am doing it this year. So I bought one of the bundles off of the Stephen and Penelope site, and I think I posted on this, or I did post this on Instagram, so some of you may have already seen what I picked up. And if you're doing this, make sure to go follow me on Instagram so we can kind of like cheer each other on or what have you. So the bundle came with this project bag, this little canvas tote, which is awesome because I don't have to worry about getting a project bag for my shawl. It also came with one of these little ruler things, like a gauge ruler thing, which I am very happy about because I was actually wanting to buy one of these because I just have like a tape measure and it's hard to like keep it straight, because it's so wobbly and malleable or whatever, so it doesn't like stay straight. So I wanted something like this that I could just lay on top of it and know that it's straight across and everything. And I'm kind of like maybe overly excited that they included this in the bundle when you bought it from their site, because like it's not that, like, if you already have one of these, I feel like this would just be kind of like something you'd probably just like throw in a project bag and forget about. But I was like, no, I was like, this saved me from buying one for myself, so that's kind of cool. They also came with like stickers and some labels that I don't know if I would, just dropped to them. I don't know if I would use these, but maybe I will. I feel like I'm too lazy to take the time to sew in a label. And let's see if I can hold this up. This is the bundle I got. So this is from Life in the Long Grass. It's their singles, it's superwash merino wool, and this is the Baroque gradient set. So let's see, this shade specifically is called Noon, and then this one is Antique, which is, oh, this is such like a beautiful, almost like rose gold, I feel like because it has like a sheen to it, you know, so I just feel like, yeah, I don't know, so pretty. And then this one is Queen, and this one is Baroque, so that is very exciting. I cannot wait to cast this on. Obviously I do have to wait though until the first clue comes out, which I think it's like October 4th, so it's like soon, but it also feels like it's kind of far away. But I will be casting on as soon as possible. So I'm thinking the day or so before, I'll probably get these all caked up and ready to go. Maybe do a gauge swatch. I should probably do a gauge swatch to make sure I don't run out of yarn or anything like that. But yeah, I'm so excited. So I don't know if this will be something that I do every single year. I just wanted to at least participate once, like during the actual thing, just because it seemed like it would be a lot of fun. So let me know if you're going to be doing it as well. And again, if you, oh shoot, the battery is about to die. Back with a fresh battery. What was I saying? I was going to say that if you are also doing the mystery knit along, make sure you're following me on Instagram so that we can kind of see each other's. Those are all my acquisitions. In terms of future plans and like cast-ons and stuff, I think the next cast-on I will do is probably going to be, well, obviously this guy, right? But aside from that, the Dorney I do want to cast on soon. But I probably will wait until my Semper Sweater is off the needles, and also I think I want to finish the Snood. I want to get that off the needles as well. And also I'm trying not to buy any more yarn until I finish. There was 4 products I wanted to finish. The first was the Ruska Hat. I talked about this I think in my last podcast. I wanted the Ruska Hat done, the Semper Sweater done, the Snood done, and the my current whip, my current sock whip. So those 4 projects were supposed to get done before I bought any more yarn. However, then the Spain collection, there was that pre-order, and I was not gonna miss that. Those colors, again, let me tell you, oh, so beautiful. I was not gonna miss those. And so I did purchase from that collection, so I kind of broke that ban, but I was kind of also like gonna stick with the ban still and just like allow myself that one, you know, exception. But then I I happen to be listening. I don't usually catch Tiffany's live streams like when they're live, so I don't normally watch them, but I just so happened to, I think that whatever day it was, Thursday this past week, I think it was Thursday, that was a day where I normally, if I had, because I was having the worst migraine, so I was like, if I could have called out of work, or called in sick to work, I would have, but that last week was like my week on, there's like a rotation we have at work where you kind of have to babysit some code that's running just to kind of give you like a high level of what it is. So it's just like, you know, you're just clicking buttons and making sure that things are running as expected. I don't want to be that person that like calls in sick during their week and has to get someone else to, you know, fill in for them. And so I just told my boss, I was like, hey, I'm having a really bad migraine, so I'm just gonna be online to like babysit that. But I probably won't be, like, I'm not gonna call into any meetings, I'm not gonna do any other work because I just want to, you know, stay off of screens as much as possible. And then I was kind of like, well, what can I do? Like, I don't want to watch anything. But then I saw that she was live streaming and I was like, well, I could just like listen in, you know? So I just like put it on, listened to it. It wasn't really like watching, I was just like listening. And she was talking about the Drops Daisy and how it's on sale and it's new and all of that, and like a bunch of people in the chat were like, okay, if you're gonna buy it, I'm gonna buy it, so like let's buy it together. And I was like, okay, I gotta see what this is about. And so I went and I looked at it and I was like, oh, it is on sale. And like, so I bought some. It's not here yet because that was like 3 days ago or something, so I will show it to you guys when it's here. But as far as my yarn diet was going, or whatever you want to call it, I didn't do so well, but I am going to try to not purchase anything else until those projects are done, and then I have a few things that I want to purchase for like specifically for some projects, and then I will probably try to go for, I'll probably pick another set of projects that I need to finish before I buy any more yarn. Because I'm just buying yarn faster than I can knit it, and that needs to stop because it's overwhelming. I think that's everything. I'm going to try to remember to try on my Semper Sweater for you guys so that I can pop that into the video, but I think that's all I need to do for this. So if I missed anything, definitely feel free to ask questions in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Also, I've been thinking I want to do a knit and chat at some point, but I don't know what I would chat about. So if you have any suggestions, or I don't know, if I got enough questions, like if there were enough people to ask questions, I could do a Q&A. Yeah, I don't know, I just think it'd be fun to do a knit and chat. I've never done one before. I think it would be fun. So make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, if you like this type of content. And please give my video a thumbs up. It helps my channel out. And also if you want to leave a comment down below, those things help YouTube know that people enjoy my content and that maybe other people would also enjoy my content. So if you want to help support the channel, I would really appreciate that. And to everyone who has commented and who has subscribed and liked my videos, I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I'm glad that I'm not just talking to myself. So thank you, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Don't forget to let me know what you were knitting on while watching. And if you have any thoughts on any of the projects or any of the yarn or whatever, let me know. I would love to hear from you guys. But yeah, other than that, that's it for me. So I hope you had fun knitting. I hope you had fun with this podcast. I hope you have a wonderful next couple of weeks, and I will try to hit you guys up soon with another vlog video. Yeah, okay, awesome. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next podcast. Bye!
Alright, this is a song that I wrote about falling too fast, but I wouldn't know anything about that.
I don't wanna lose my grounding, so you catch me not responding. And I press my lips together so you don't find any